every fucking thing is open world right now. Well, not everything, but every game at least. Uh, whether it's mobile, whether it's on console, whether it's on PC, it seems like open world games are the new golden ticket, right? Is it merely a trend? Is it the industry norm? I don't know. I mean, if I had to take a stab at it, I would say it's just become the industry norm. I believe that video game developers, well, not only are they attuned to what are the trends in their industry, right? Because they want to make money. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, sure, you can have passion projects and games that you really want to make, but you're always going to be beholden to someone, right? Especially if you're in if what you love, if you're doing what you love for a living, you're going to be beholden to someone unless you're fortunate enough to have your own company with your own views. And not only that, they're also profitable, right? Because you can have your own company with your own views and you can do things your way and it could still not work out because maybe you're not in tune with what your industry needs or whatever. I don't know. I'm not some sort of fucking business savant. I'm poor. Don't take advice from me. But it just seems to me like open world video games, or at least the direction that all video games seem to be going towards now, it seems to me like that's a rational one, right? Because it, even to the casual gamer, you can see the allure in open world games, right? Like you have this big, beautifully crafted world. Well, if it's done correctly, at least. I could think of a few games that are open world, and I'm like, why? Why'd you do this to us? Why'd you do this to me? But you have these big, beautifully crafted worlds with oftentimes their own lore and interesting characters and, all sorts of weather biomes, and that's all dope. I mean, who doesn't like to see that? But unfortunately, as the case with a game from Ubisoft, right, which I've spoke about before. As a matter of fact, this is kind of the main reason why I decided to make this particular video. Um, wow, did it just disconnect me? Windows did not recognize it. I don't know, man. Something's going on with my computer. I'm really hoping that what the fuck? Give me 1 second. Sorry, I was having some issues there. It just I don't know where it said USB not recognized, but it seems like things are better now. Yeah, the audio levels are a little weird. So if my last few videos the audio sounded kind of off, yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. I'm recording this through a laptop. Anyways, as the case with Ubisoft, like I was just doing what I normally do, which is basically like right before my run, I was thinking like, hey man, why are Ubisoft games so soulless? And I know that sounds shitty. That's a shitty thing to say, but it's like it's also the truth, at least in my experience. And I've played, I would say at least two significant major entries in their library of games, which is like the most recent ones, at least like Far Cry 6, which I enjoyed, as well as Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I also enjoyed. Now, I play these games to completion from beginning to the end, with mostly to all of like the side quests done, as well as like the little things, some collection missions and stuff. I'm not a big collector in games. I'm also not like a completionist. I play the game. I have a very standard criteria when it comes to playing games, like a very like a list. In order for me to say that I fully enjoyed and finished the game, I have to beat the storyline from the beginning to the end. I have to do all of the side quests, and I also have to uncover the entire map. Everything else to me, as long as I meet those three things, I've consider a game finished. But I find myself thinking about Ubisoft and what is it about their games that just like they have the characters, they have the cool storylines, they have the budgeting, it's a major uh video game company, a publisher, developer, whatever. And you start to think like, what is it? What is they had? It seems like they're hitting every note, but there's just something about their games, man, that like some people would say it's empty. They'd be like, "Oh, it's an empty world." That's what makes it not as, what can I say? Like, not as enjoyable, not as in depth, not as rich, because like, you have your typical tropes in open world games, right? Like where you go to like specific hidden areas, and it might be like a hidden side quest or like a hidden weapon or a hidden cave, or some sort of a Easter egg. And Ubisoft has those also. But it just seems to me like they never nail it correctly. It feels like, not to sound like a, I don't mean this in a derogatory sense, but like it sounds soulless. It sounds like it's like you've got the recipe, but there's no soul behind it. It's kind of like if someone made your favorite dish, and you're like, dude, you nailed everything except that one thing. There's something that this dish is missing, so therefore I can't say that it's exactly like my favorite food. It's very, very close to it, but it's not exactly, because it's missing something. And I'm not going to use Ubisoft as an example on how open world games should not be made, because they're great games. It's just like I said, they're missing a major ingredient, may I say. What that major ingredient is, I can't really tell you, but I just always get that feeling after completing the game. Like I said before, some people said it's empty. I'm pretty sure other people have said that the side quests aren't memorable, which that one I can get behind, especially with Valhalla, the latest entry into the Assassin's Creed series. The side quests were a joke. I'm sorry, they were. They were like, they weren't meaningful or in depth or even long. They were just very minuscule, very like you can resolve the vast majority of side quests right then and there. Like I like, you know what I'm saying? Like a nice beefy side quest would be like, you may have to travel to a different part of the map. It may take a while to resolve. Then you have to talk to like a certain character, and you have to make like a really significant moral choice of some sort, or have a cool ass epic battle, with a certain someone. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like they need to have a significant, beautiful, memorable side quest. You need to have something. And Assassin's Creed Valhalla didn't have that in their side quests. There were like, I think one of them, if I'm not mistaken, one of them was like a mission where it was like this mob outside of someone's house with like pitchforks and torches, and they were getting ready to ransack the place. And I think you can talk to the person aside. I forgot what they did to piss the mob off, but you can like basically go out there and talk to the mob and be like, "Hey, don't kill them," or whatever. And then, if I guess your charisma's high enough or whatever, um, they won't, and they'll just walk away. And I think that's the end of the quest. I'm not remembering that correctly because it's been a few years since I've played Valhalla. But I remember thinking like, wow, that was super simple and not eventful at all. And that's not cool. But if you think about it, and then on the other end of the spectrum, you have you have open world games that are just done magnificently. And in my case, nobody beats Bethesda in that. I know, I know, I know. I sound like an insane fanboy, but just hear me out. Like, I've played dozens of open world games, from fantasy games to more, realistic grounded games. You name it. Red Dead Redemptions, the Witchers, the Dragon Ages, the Mass Effects. The Skyrims. Most recently would be the Far Cries, the Assassin's Creed. If I didn't just mention that. I played a bunch of open world games, and it just seems to me, and even older games, you want to go back to the Nintendo era, I would say Zelda, the original, the OG Zelda for Nintendo would be considered an open world game. Whatever. Point is, I played a shitload of them, and Bethesda, there's something about their games that just like, you can say whatever you want about them, but there's just something about the exploring and the world building that they do that's just like, it's magnificent. There's just something calming, and I know I sound dramatic here, but like almost magical, right? Like, just the music. My God, I forgot the name's composer, but like the music just goes fantastic with the game, and the exploring aspect of it. You can rag on the combat, you can rag on the side quests, which to me, I don't feel like the side quests are done correctly there, because they do have a lot of the a lot of the elements that I mentioned earlier, which is like meaningful, impactful choices or decisions or even to a fight. But it's just something about the exploration. To me, that's literally my favorite part about an Elder Scrolls game slash Bethesda games, whether it's a Fallout game or the exploration, just the excitement of just getting from just exploring the entire map, uncovering things, because you know you're gonna find some funny shit, or you're gonna find some interesting shit, or some insightful shit, or sad shit. Like they just the world building is top notch there, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of developers can use a page from that, and some have even done it better depending on who you speak to. Some you can say the same thing about the world of The Witcher, right? CD Projekt's world in The Witcher. You can say the same thing. The exploration was great, and to me personally, I found the combat in The Witcher better than the Elder Scrolls series. I enjoyed that combat better. That's more up my alley. But not taking anything away from the Elder Scrolls combat, which I also feel is great. It's just I don't know. I feel like with the Witcher's combat is is more fluid, and there's more parrying and blocking, and it just feels like you're really in control of Geralt, and I love that. I love that. But it didn't have. It's still like even though I explored the entire world and I was like, this world is beautiful, and the characters and the side quests are mwah, chef's fucking kiss. This I don't know if there's any better side quests than the ones in The Witcher 3. That's debatable, but whatever. What I'm saying is there's something magical about just patrolling the worlds, the wastes, or you know, Oblivion, the plains of Oblivion. Like there's something beautiful about that. I can't explain it. Just like I can't explain what Ubisoft is missing, that ingredient that they're missing. I can't explain why the Elder Scrolls worlds are just like fantastic and to me superior. So there is good ways you can do it, bad ways you can do it, mediocre ways you can do it, but of course you got to recognize the cash-ins. There's always going to be people who just want to cash in on something, and also there's been a big rise in games that weren't traditionally open world and are now becoming open world. Now, I can give you a million examples of games that weren't traditionally open world but became open world in their latest entry. It's one that I'm really looking forward to, although I'm a little weary. Not weary, that's not the word. Wary? I'm fucking cautious. That's what I meant to say. And one of my favorite indie games of all time is Hyper Light Drifter. I absolutely love that game. I remember I also was smoking a lot of weed then. But around the time it came out, I remember just being glued to the TV, just thinking in my head, like, this is why I love indie games. Like, this game has everything. It has soul, it has exploration. The combat was beautiful, it was fast paced, and you feel like a god once you learn how to dash correctly and solve certain puzzles and move out of the way. It's a beautifully crafted game, A plus. So Hyper Light Breaker would be the sequel, which is on its way out soon. I saw a trailer today, as a matter of fact, and I it looks it looks open world. It's 3D now. It's no longer 2D. It's very bright and colorful, which I feel like that's also a note. That's also a sign of the times. Like a lot of games, and I blame maybe is not the word. Yeah, fuck it. I'll blame Fortnite for it. You know what I mean? Because Fortnite has made, I don't know, they first of all they're super influential and made a shitload of money. And their aesthetic is very colorful, very like kid oriented or whatever. And I feel like a lot of people want in on that dollar. A lot of executives from other companies, and they're like, we got to follow that template. We got to make shit colorful. To the point where I'm seeing games like Call of Duty, like serious tactical games, like Call of Duty and like Rainbow Six or whatever, like they're getting colorful. Like I see ads for them all the time, and the characters that they have in Rainbow Six and Call of Duty, they're wearing like fucking purple camo or some shit. Their guns are like green and neon. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's like you don't see this shit in the army, But I get it. It's a video game at the end of the day, and you want to sell. You want to take pages and notes and inspirations from successful businesses and stuff, and you want to make your own business successful. So I look at Hyper Light Breaker, which is going to be the new game from Heart Machine, I believe. That's the name of the developer or the developers. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm cautious because it's beautiful and I want to get excited for it, but at the same time, it kind of looks very colorful. And mind you, the original aesthetic for Hyper Light Drifter was colorful and it was very neon and it took place in I want to say like a I don't know, like a cross between like nature and cyberpunk. I don't know. It's very weird, but it's very cool also. And I had the screensaver for the skulls. I believe it was in one of the temples. It's been years since I played this game. Mind you, I played this game when I was really high, so I don't remember a lot. Only significant moments in the game. But I remember it was like this temple or something that had like these neon pink skulls or red skulls, and I was like, "Fuck, that's so cool." And I remember I had it as my screensaver for a long time. Um, I'm just a little cautious. That's all. I'm cautious that I'm like I hope that now that it's ventured into this whole new open world, like is it going to be meaningful? Is it still going to be as meaningful as the first game? Is it going to be as fun as the first game? Is it going to be, is it going to have all of the trimmings, everything that the first game had, or is it going to be some sort of a cash in, some sort of a like, look, we're trying to make some money, so we got to follow the trends. And I don't know. I'm just very cautious on that front, man. And I'm rooting for it because I mean at this point their Hyperlight Drifter was so successful. I'm not even sure if they're like in the territory of India anymore. You know, maybe I got to do some more research on that. But I am still excited to play and I can't wait to buy it. And I believe it's coming out in early access, which is great because it gets some time to cook in the oven before it gets released, and I'm all right with that. I found out the other day I was talking to a friend that like Japanese people their method not method but like they play games the most on mobile. Like that's their platform. More than console, more than PC. And somebody said that's because they're always on the go. And I think that is actually legit the reason because they're so busy as a society. They're, rewarded for hard work, which there was a word for that. I remember seeing some sort of a video on that on YouTube about, I forgot the name, but they like you get applauded for overworking yourself. And in the video, this YouTube video, uh, they had the guy who created the YouTube video was just running around Japan, just recording salarymen, like businessmen, just asleep on park benches and on the street because right after them working so many hours, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-hour shifts, they will go out to drink with like their bosses and their subordinates and all that. So it's like they feel the need they have to do that. They're not out there at the bar because they want to be. They're doing it because they want to advance in their corporation and they feel like this is the best way to do that. It's ingrained into their culture, hard work. And for some people that may be admirable and for some people that may be kind of exploitative, right? Like you're kind of exploiting, but not only on the exploitation front, some people may see it that way, but I see it like I don't think any human being should work that hard. I'm not saying don't work hard. You should definitely work hard. You work hard on yourself, work hard in life, work hard on what you love, work hard on who you love, whoever that may be. You should definitely work hard. There should be hard things in your life for you to do, hard obstacles for you to overcome, but you shouldn't overwork yourself. That's the key word. And that's what it seems like they're doing in Japan, at least, or at least it's part of the culture. Overworking yourself just has nothing but negative benefits. I don't even have to fucking explain to you. You don't have to be a doctor or scientist or whatever to deduce the fact that you overwork yourself, you can literally kill yourself. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's so bad for your health in more ways than one. So I just found out the other day, like most people play, most people in Japan play mobile games because they're always on the go, so they don't have time to sit in front of a PC or a console at home or whatever, or they're in their apartments. Um, and I'm like, there's so many, which made me, go into the mobile world. I said, you know what? I got a Google Pixel, right? And I'm like, let me, I'm not a mobile guy. I just, there's something about portable game. I have a Switch and I no bullshit, it collects dust. Now I have had fun with it for a while because the only main reason I bought that Switch was to play Zelda, Breath of the Wild. And now that Tears of the Kingdom is coming out, honestly, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna have my Switch by then. I may end up selling it. But that's not because of hatred or anything. It's just because personally, I believe it's a very underpowered device. And not only that, it's buying an entire console for one game, man. That's a dumb thing I would do. That's not a smart financial move whatsoever. It's not. It's I can't justify that, and I won't try to justify that. But here I am, a dumb guy. That's how much I love Zelda, and unfortunately, that's the only platform you can play it in, which is Nintendo. So I'm like, I don't have a choice here. Whatever. I'm not trying to justify it, man. I'm not even gonna say I fucked up because I don't regret it. I just feel like the Nintendo Switch has aged so rapidly. You know, right now it could barely like any game you throw at it, it's just chugging away. You know, it's just chugging. It doesn't have the graphical power anymore. So you have to make your games like very specifically for a system like that, you know? And even when you do, it still doesn't run well and it still doesn't look great. You know, look at the new Pokemons, for example. I'm not a huge Pokemon guy, but you know, I've seen videos on it and I'm like, damn, these new games are just chugging along, man, and that sucks, you know. But I look at games for mobile and I'm like, damn, there's so many. I just dived into it just to look at it. I'm like, dude, there's so many fucking open world games on mobile. And I'm like, that's wild, right? I'm not against that at all. I feel like video games are fun and video games are great. So you should play it whenever if you can play fucking Doom on a pregnancy test, rock on, dude. Like, do it. Bring that shit to work. You'll be the weird guy, especially if you're a dude. You're walking around with whatever. You'll be fucking mocked, or maybe someone would think it's cool, like me, because I'm not too bright. But whatever, man. Whatever you can get your hands on to play video games on, do it. So I support mobile gaming. Do I like it? No, I don't. But just because I don't like it doesn't mean that I want it to be stopped or rock on, man. If that's the way you play games, play games. But whatever. Maybe I'm just an old man now. But it just seems to me like playing games on playing specifically open world games on a mobile platform is so bizarre to me because it's like I guess maybe a lot of that has to do with the fact that all of the open world games I've ever played pretty much were at home or in some sort of a house or when I'm sitting in front of a TV. So to sit at work or on the subway and play these giant open world games, that's so bizarre to me. Like speaking of Breath of the Wild, I remember one of my friends at the time, she got the Switch, I think either before, no, after me, and I think she still loves the thing. I haven't spoken to her in quite a while, but I remember her telling me she sends me a picture and a message and says, "Hey, I finally beat Breath of the Wild, and I have already finished it." And I was like, "Great." I was like, "How is it? Like, where are you?" She's like, "I'm in the bus. I'm on my way home." And I was like, "She was playing fucking Zelda on the bus." She beat Zelda on a bus, a public bus in Philadelphia. And I know that's not riveting to anyone. There's lots of people that go, "Yeah, what the fuck is your point?" But man, that blows my mind that you can play a game like Zelda anywhere you want to. So that alone, justifies the price of the Switch and also its popularity. So, you know, that's also a big reason why I don't like portable games. I know that sounds crazy. I just finished praising it, and then I tell you, hey, this is all that's cool about it, but I don't like it. It's kind of confusing. But I don't know. I feel like maybe because I've been conditioned to play video games at home, I can't wrap my head around the fact of playing a game. Like, there's no way you can give a game full attention if there's honking in the background and police sirens and the vehicle that you're currently on is going really fast and it's braking and people are having a conversation next to you that is really loud and one dude is playing fucking music extra loud and like there's no way you can fully be submerged in the game if you're out in public, maybe in an airplane where everyone is sort of semi quiet. You can kind of put the headphones on, turn the lights down low, and play the game, which I've done before. And it's pretty cool, but you still know you're around people. It's still a public area, so you can't fully relax, like taking your shoes off and, eating your favorite snack and then curling up, behind a blanket or your favorite little bathrobe. And you're just like, fucking playing your game, man. Like I don't know. I feel like video games are more intimate to me. Like they should be. Well, I wouldn't say they should be. I'm sounding like a fucking politician right now. But like it feels right that video games are. It feels right when video games are like more personal when you're playing them more in your house. I mean, I'm an old man. I'm pretty sure younger people would be like, yeah, that was how games used to be played. This is the new fucking generation, grandpa. And I'll be like, you know what? I'm not even mad at you, dude. I get it. I get it. And I support it. Support it 100%. Not on board, but I support it 100%. So yeah, it's just weird to me, man. The whole open world. I mean, first of all, video games, portable video games to me are weird. Now, this is coming from somebody who had a Game Boy, like the OG Game Boy, the black and white one. And honestly, most of the time I played it in the house. You know what I mean? Like I brought it with me to school a few times. I guess I went outside and sat on a bench somewhere or something, or in front of my steps and played a Game Boy. But for the most part, I played my portable devices indoors, which kind of defeats the purpose of having a portable device in the first place, right? Even now, no bullshit. I have a gaming laptop. I don't have a desktop rig or nothing. I have a gaming laptop, and 90% of the time I play it at home. It's rare I take that. I took this to work maybe once or twice, a couple times, not a handful of times, under five. And most of the time, I have this portable device that's specifically intended for portability purposes, and I leave it at home 90% of the time because this laptop I specifically use for video games and the YouTube stuff that I do. So I don't know. I'm weird like that, or maybe there are more people out there like that. That'd be great to know that I'm not completely insane. But I don't know. I guess video games. The only way I can defend my anti portability ways would be just to. I want to get into a game. I believe that when you play a video game, you should. Here you go. I gotta avoid this. You should shit. Feel like I'm wagging my finger at you, which makes me feel even more older. When playing a video game, I feel like the best way you can absorb everything, you can fully get into the lore, fully get into the music, fully get into the mood, it would be to be at home with no distractions. Now, of course, not every game is like this. There's party games and there's casual games that you can have while having a conversation with someone. You don't need to be fully engrossed in them. But I guess what I mean is the games that I play, like the Skyrims and those games. I feel like I want to just be absorbed. I want to be just full on absorbed in it. So what's the what's the future of video games now that we know that everything is open world? Like what's going to be the next thing? Is everything going to be open world? And here's a better question: should everything be open world? Right? Like do linear games still have a place in our current society, in our modern world, right? Like are linear games okay? Is it okay to make a game that you really can't fully explore, but it's still a good quality game that you can play from A to B? Maybe those are the games that I don't know are better suited for certain types of people. Like maybe there's people out there who don't want to play an open world game all the fucking time because there's too many things to do, too many distractions, and they kind of go fuck this. Maybe people want something that's a little more structured and something that's a little more grounded, so you can go, I know exactly where to go. I want it to be an experience, kind of like reading a book, right? You read the book from cover to cover. It's like, that's all. When you're reading a book, there's nothing fancy about it. You're sitting down and you're just reading, and you turn the page, you read, you turn the page, and the book is done. There's nothing abnormal or anything extra that requires that you need to, that is required of you for reading a book. And some video games are okay like that. Linear, and I I compare linear games to reading a book because there's nothing special that you have to do. There's no extra steps or anything. It's a pretty straightforward process. You turn the game on, you play it from A to B. You know, I still believe that there should be games like that. And I also believe that not everything needs to be open world too. You know what I mean? Like horror games. I haven't played The Quarry, but I heard that wasn't really super open world. That's kind of linear too. And I'm like, great. There's something about horror being linear that I find more scarier, I guess. But I could be wrong on that. I'm sure there has to be an open world straight up horror game that I probably already played and can't even recall right now, or maybe there isn't. And if there isn't, why isn't there? Why isn't there a fucking solid open world horror game? Like hardcore horror game. Not horror elements, like it's a horror game. You know, I've seen games that are like horror related or have horror themed or like have horror elements, but they're not. That's not the primary type of game it is. I'm on board with open world. It's always going to be my favorite type of game. And I revealed my age earlier when I said the OG Zelda, from like 1989, 88. I forgot what year the original Zelda came out. But that was like that was one of the first experiences I've ever had with an open world game. And I remember just falling in love, and that's all I wanted to play. Same thing with Metal Gear for the Nintendo, which was a game. Now, mind you, when you're a kid, you don't want to play fucking. After playing Mario, you think anyone wants to play Metal Gear? After playing something as riveting and as fucking addicting as Mario, you want to sit around and crawl and punch sleeping guards in the face? And you want to play Mario, you want to get some points, you want to slide down pipes and stuff. That sounds weird. But you know what I mean? But I loved it. I loved Metal Gear. I loved open world games. The concept of having this giant digital world that you can explore. I fell in love with that then when I was a kid, a single digit aged kid, till now. And I'm a dinosaur. So I like this trend. I'm on board with this trend. And even though some games are better than others, that's with anything. I'm just not singling games out. Some clothing materials better than others. Some musicians are better than others. Some venues are better than others. Some food is better than others. There's always going to be something that's better than others. And in video games, open world games are done better by others than others. I don't know why I'm saying others so much. Some people make it better than other people. That's life. That's something that, I don't have no control of. Neither do you. Neither does no one. Some people do it better. Some people don't do it as well. And I'm on board. I'm on board with making open world games. I don't have anything against them, even the ones that are questionable. And I hate to single things out, but I have to give you examples. Elix. Elix is one that once you I haven't played part two, but I played Elix one. I haven't finished that one either, but I played it long enough to give a proper review about it. And I don't think I ever am, or never say never. My next video might be on fucking Elix. Who knows? But point is, that's a game that I feel like once you accept the jankiness, once you accept the I don't know. It has a weird charm to it. I can't explain it. You're like, okay, this game's not the combat's pretty stiff. The exploration's not that great. The dialogue is like, oh man, not great. But it does have all the elements that you like. Like I feel like it's worth a playthrough just because only if you're open-minded and you understand that you're not going to get a super polished AAA experience. But at the same time, if you came up to me and you said, "Why don't you shut the fuck up, Dan?" I would rather spend my time on something that's better. I would go, I'm not mad at you, dude. I'm not mad at you, but I'm saying, like, I'm not going to recommend a game if I felt like it didn't have some sort of redeeming quality to it. And Elix totally does, in my opinion. And I know that's a controversial hot take there, but, that's another game that I feel like, not necessarily the open world aspect was done correctly or whatever, but it's there and it's charming and I think it's worth a play. I'm excited. So many cool games are coming out, and surprise, surprise, the vast majority of them on the top 10 list, like fucking 8 or 9 of them are open world games. And I'm like, I'm with it, man. I'm cool with it as long as it's done correctly, man. Take your time, craft the world, make it look beautiful. Don't make it empty. Give it some soul. Give it, like I love this world. This world's always vibrant. This world is always there's always some place cool that you can go and explore, and I'm on board, man, and I'm excited. Sorry if this one was all over the place. I know I always say that, but this one had like some technical issues, and I didn't even edit that shit out. I'm just, dude. It's gonna take so much time to do all that. So sorry. But thanks for sticking around and listening. I'll catch you next time.